There we go.
Donkey time, motherfucking donkey time. Oh shit! Didn't think that through, guys. Oh look, it's as
Good.
it was like that. It was like that, honestly. All right, I got too
Oh,
distracted.
before we
I got too distracted by weathering with you tonight.
before we get started, let's do a show of hands. How many of us are going to watch Nefta Football Club tomorrow?
I mean, not tomorrow,
Yes.
but before Oscar Sunday. Hell, fucking yeah! I'm probably gonna try and
Watch
what.
it in a theater.
They don't have that privilege over here. They only do it for the BAFTA shorts, and that's only
We
in about
barely,
4 cinemas, I think. Hell,
we barely have it here.
I'm still fucking pissed that I can't see the lighthouse. They've got posters up in all of your cinemas saying we're showing it. No, you bloody aren't. Stop lying, bastards.
This is the first year that I can honestly say that I can be very covered on everything, and I look at what I'm not covered on, and it's animated and documentary short. Craziness. We are live, everyone.
Um,
Yes, that's what we call a cold open. And this is what we've all been waiting for, the official final 2020 Academy Awards predictions.
has Owen noticed the touch?
Crush your enemies. We're, oh, my dad. So we have another Adam Driver post.
Yeah. Hey, that is. I mean, okay, that's from the previous SNL appearance, but his SNL appearances just keep on giving. So you know.
I mean, he kind of looks like Richard O'Brien from my vantage point. So,
No, me and AJ know of Abraham. Is it Abraham Parnassus?
Yes.
Yeah, we know of Abraham Parnassus.
I know a Dr. Parr, but I don't know an Abraham Parr. So, welcome everyone to our final Oscar prediction show, exclusively here on the Popcast Network. I'm sure you're curious why we're doing it a week early when we normally would do it like the week of. Reason why, honestly, because Darren and Howard are in town, so it's kind of like I'm going to focus on hanging out with my roommates, my awesome best friends, and getting ready for the Oscars, which I can officially say I have off that day. So, for all intents and purposes, I am getting paid personal holidays to to not only not work the BAFTAs and the Oscars, but I'm getting paid for those days. Makes me feel good about myself. So, joining us as always, if you don't know by now, you can't really tell because I don't have like a Chiron or anything saying my name is Owen, but maybe someday because Ashley is getting all technical and everything now with all the cool gimmicks we have around the screen. Which is funny because the second I looked over, it looked like it said "crush your enemies" was like what was being said, like as a highlight at the bottom of the screen. Like I was saying something, and I'm just saying in actuality, "crush your enemy." So
Trust me. I'm just gonna find any sort of random film-related gifs and whatever, and probably Kenny Omega kicking the crap out of a 7-year-old girl.
please, also, like I said, Orange Cassidy and Nick Gage.
Yeah, that's on.
That's
Well,
what I
that
request.
might not be a gif. That might just be a still. But you know,
I request that greatly. So my name is Owen. Joining me as always, we have Ashley
cuppa.
and AJ.
Yeah.
And God, we've been doing this since August, and now it's finally here. Our final Oscar predictions. We've come a long way since the beginning of this.
It feels more of a slog because we've practically done. I mean, when we actually get to the Oscars, it'll be what, a dozen shows maybe in 6 weeks,
Yeah,
practically.
it's like a Horror Nights timeline for content back in the day here on this channel. So Bry Guy mentions the first thing being the fact that Grand Budapest Hotel is getting a Criterion release, apparently.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, finally.
And apparently Billie Eilish is performing at the Oscars.
Oh,
Yeah.
if that's the premiere of the Bond song, hell fucking. Or is she singing the song for the In Memoriam section?
Do we have a confirmation on that, Bry Guy? One of them would work. I think the In Memoriam makes the most sense, but I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and
Oh, they're
see.
listing it as a special performance. Oh. Oh, is that the. That now is making me wonder if that's the debut of the Bond theme.
Could be.
If you're
It's a
gonna
good
do,
day to have that.
if you're gonna do it, you know, and Universal paid enough money to Disney.
So I will state right now, I'm always honest with you guys, always have been, and I'm gonna be completely honest here. We talked about the BAFTAs recently. Video is up on the channel a couple days ago, technically. And that's this Sunday. We're gonna go live after it's over, and we're gonna talk about BAFTAs.
Yeah, we're gonna do something Sunday.
Right.
It might be
So
before it actually finished broadcasting, depending how that is
very
on
possible.
BBC America. But you know,
Hi, Cassie.
sorry if they want to start, you know, too late because of Doctor Who. You know, there you go.
God, so, so many hidden references here. It's crazy. You almost think this was planned. Anyway,
Yeah.
let me stress right now that we're basically going to finish this, and I'll say, like with BAFTA, I looked at the awards once. I looked at it for the second time right before I made my predictions. With the Oscars, went to work today. Actually, no, yeah, I went to work today at 9 a.m. and I got up at 7:45. That was my plan. Shower, get ready, and go. Right. So, because I live so close to where I work, the thing about it is that I woke up at 20 after the hour and did my Oscar prediction before I got ready for the day. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not 100% confident with something.
Oh.
Some more so than others. So Braga I also said maybe a tribute to classic film like Gaga did with the Sound of Music tribute, or maybe Groundhog Day, possibly. I know that's a Super Bowl commercial from what I've seen on stills on Twitter. I see AJ is frozen.
He isn't anymore.
Okay, there you go.
So
So
wait.
yeah, let's get into this.
All right. You want on your whole thing about how you did your predictions like this morning?
Yeah,
I'll do you one better. There's three categories where I panicked, and
same.
in my panic, I couldn't choose, so I'm gonna have to choose here.
Ooh,
And one of the ones I didn't choose is gonna be the first one we do.
okay.
You want to go
And
even
I
one
had
better?
something.
You want to go even one better? I've just put Renee Zellweger. The other 23 are on the fly.
Wow, for once, I'm actually not the one that's behind when
What
it
you
comes to
talking
these predictions.
You didn't even go ahead and pre-mark foreign.
Yeah, seriously, Ashley, you didn't mark Parasite for foreign?
I was at the top of the thing and all I saw was Renee Zellweger and it's like, yep.
So we starting.
We
Yeah.
are going to start now.
All right. I had this, and I was confident up until last night, and something threw me off.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
We're starting with visual effects.
I don't even know what happened with the guild, so this is going to be the interesting one.
Well, our nominees are Endgame, The Irishman, 1917, The Lion King, and Star Wars. Going into this, I was just going to say The Lion King.
Right.
But The Lion King pretty much swept the guild last night, and the Visual Effects Guild is not good at matching.
Ooh.
So, yeah. I mean, I think I'm still going to go with it, but, like, as soon as The Lion King won, suddenly, at the guild, suddenly everything that's nominated seemed possible. And I know some people are throwing out the idea of The Irishman, even though people will never stop bitching about it if that happens. But and they could love 1917 that much because it's not the kind of visual effects they typically go for.
No.
I mean, Star Wars is always here, but like I don't recall a time it actually took it, unless it was like back when I wasn't paying attention to this. And I went with Infinity War last year, but the Guild did too. So you can imagine what happened.
Oh, God.
Well, as far as
Tension
like the
mounted.
main one, they obviously had them split up, and First Man took like the supporting effects or whatever they call it.
Yeah, Force Awakens didn't win. Lost to Ex Machina. Star Wars The Last Jedi lost to Blade Runner 2049. So again, approve. And I don't think the Episode 2 was, but lost out to Two Towers. Episode 1 was, but lost to The Matrix. The original Star Wars did, but it was only up against Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Empire Strikes Back was the only nominee, so that's cheating. And Return of the Jedi was the only nominee, so again, that's cheating. So yeah, other than the original trilogy, Star Wars has not won a visual effects Oscar since.
And Avengers movies never win either. So is one of them going to make a change, or are we taking that as an omen?
I'll get to that in a minute.
No.
Wow, that sounded bad.
So I'm just going to say The Lion King.
Okay. That's perfect timing. Ashley.
Just because I want to see people squirm about how people that don't have a job are winning an award, Lion King. We'd like to thank the studio,
Okay.
but they don't exist.
Okay, real quick before we go any further, Cassie says Avengers Endgame. Josephine says, I think the younger voters will go with Endgame or Lion King. Older will go with 1917 or Irishman. So you're basically saying Star Wars at this point. Josephine also said the argument for Irishman not winning visual effects, according to Ann Thompson from Gold Derby, is that the actors won't vote for technology. They could replace actors. I'm guessing that could replace actors.
Well, yeah, here the other thing also is that, and I think I expressed this. What's that?
So, well, that the example of that, they won't vote for stuff that replaces actors. Technically, Blade Runner already did that with recreating what's her name?
Sean Young.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Also, that I was expressing concern about earlier was that the nominations were kind of not like one-sided, but like they just kind of kept going for the same stuff. With the whole 4 movies got in double-digit nominations. And it's like, are they going to be the same way with the wins, where they just pick a few movies and just say everything for those,
No.
like they did in these? Because they don't look like they're feeling very inspired this year. So yeah,
Well, that being said, let me throw out my little 2 cents. AJ, we had a conversation a while back saying all else fails, bet on space, right? Gravity won, Interstellar won, First Man basically won, but already, so that knocks, to me, that knocks space out of the equation. A superhero movie has not won since Spider-Man 2.
Mm-hmm.
So that's done. And even though the Jungle Book was only a few years ago, I still think it makes the most sense. Sometimes guilds don't match up, as you've mentioned, but in this case, I think it will. I'm also going to concur with the panel and say The Lion King.
All right.
Welcome, Mr. Top Hat.
I was trying to have a look and see if we can look at the last time that they actually matched, because it hasn't been for obviously a number of years. But you know,
I want to. I want to say. I want to say Gravity was the last one.
Makes sense. I mean, I was doing research yesterday, but the thing about it, or this morning, I guess you would say, feels like yesterday. But the thing is like I was doing research this morning, but it was kind of like I just looked at previous years, which is something I don't, as AJ knows, I don't generally do. I just kind of did this time because it made sense in my head to go with that approach. Top Hat says I'm going with Lion King. I don't much care for the movie, but it's visually impressive. All right, and we
I'm
are moving on.
trying to have a quick look in the main stuff. Jungle Book matched up.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which makes sense to me.
The great thing is supporting visual effects somehow went to Deepwater Horizon that year.
All right, we ready for the next one?
Yeah,
I cannot believe how much of a race this is.
exactly.
Let's go to animated, where we
Okay,
have.
we're going further away.
That's the other
What are we
one.
waiting
That's
on?
the other one, Owen. Sorry, we're not. Fuck you, Gold Derby, by the way. Also,
It's today. It's fuck you variety.
oh, we're going even
Yeah, because
faster. I need a black tie to
I'm
go
at,
fuck you, variety.
I got this. This is my black tie.
Hang on. That technically is a black tie, isn't it, for doing up food bags? There you go. Do that. That was shit fall on the floor.
I guess animated goes next, even though I had a completely different order. Yes, continue, AJ.
It still is competitive, I would argue.
I'd say so.
Yeah, this is like. I'm basically going in my own order because this is all fucked up. But anyway,
Fair.
for animated, we have How to Train Your Dragon 3, I Lost My Body, Klaus, Missing Link, and Toy Story 4. Well, Klaus is certainly a possibility.
Totally.
I know people have been looking at Missing Link ever since Globe. And there's the easy choice. And more often than not, it pretty much pays to go with Disney here. Like I said, as in the last time How to Train Your Dragon was here. But I'm just gonna stick with Toy Story 4.
Okay.
Because they don't
Ashley.
they don't always match up. Because I'm trying to think when wasn't it a few years back where I think Frozen. Oh no, God, Frozen was that far back. I thought it was more recent than that.
2013, isn't it?
Yeah, I lose track of that stuff. I was just looking in the history. I'm still going with Toy Story 4. No, fuck it. I guess I want to be last. I'm gonna go for Klaus. Fuck it. I think this is because I think Disney's won a lot of times over the last. Yeah, Coco and Zootopia and Inside Out. and Big Hero 6 and Frozen and Brave. The last one was Rango, if you don't include last year's, obviously, Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse. So Netflix might actually have a best picture. Okay, it's an animated picture, but it's the next level up for them. Baby steps.
Cassie says, "Bye, everyone. Going to listen to this later." So, um, it's a tough one. Every year, I say the same thing, and I'm sure you guys and Brian will be the first one to bring this up. I say the Annies do not matter at all. If anything, they're the Critics' Choice Awards of animated movies.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, because I know
go ahead,
there
AJ.
was that whole thing in 2008 when Kung Fu Panda beat Wally,
Ugh,
and
why?
people were talking about how like the Annies had some kind of like anti-Disney thing going on. I don't know if that's
Well,
something
yeah,
that's like
2014, How to Train Your Dragon 2 won, whereas the Oscars went for Big Hero 6. But then, of
Much
course,
better choice.
which means they both snubbed Lego Movie. I mean, okay, the Annies nominated it. Obviously, it never made it in for the Oscars that year, but yeah.
So,
How to Train Your Dragon beat Toy Story 3 in 2010.
and that should never have happened.
okay. So this is a little more than a conspiracy then to say they're anti-Disney.
Because the Oscars got it right and the Annies got it wrong. In this case, I can't say anything because I haven't seen Klaus yet. I want to, and I honestly believe Klaus is the upset here. I really do, but it's not really much of an upset because it's been kind of there. I think right now the upset would be Missing Link.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Well, no.
top
If you take into account that I Lost My Body got animated feature independent, that could be the upset. I would argue.
and
But
apparently it's the first rotoscope movie to win. Mr. Top Hat says if it happens. But Top Hat also says going with Klaus, the Annies don't really mean much for the Oscars. Toy Story's poll starting to waver. Just saw Missing Link
wow,
today. It was actually
I just looked. I mean, at the Annies, Missing Link got 0 for 8. Frozen 2 got 2 for 8. Klaus got 7 out of 7.
again
But it
conspiracy
doesn't mean
confirmed.
anything. Yeah.
Exactly. As meaningless as the People's Choice Awards. Just saw the Missing Link today. It was actually quite charming. Bright Guy says Klaus wins is the first hand drawn film to win since Spirited Away. The Missing Link wins first stop motion film to win since Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were Rabbit. And we also mentioned what happens if I lost my body. I'm going with Toy Story 4 here. Toy Story 3 won before. I think Toy Story 4 wins, and it makes sense.
I just like to go down in. I guess I'm just going down in fires because I know I don't have any chance of winning. I say this, and then suddenly I'll be like level with both you guys when it comes to the BAFTAs, and then all of a sudden these picks are going to be absolutely stupid.
Well, well, let's well look at the if I look at what I have here and what you guys are going to go for. There's going to be a few things we're going to split on, but most of us are going to be saying the same thing for most of these awards.
I'd have thought so.
So, AJ, what's the next on the hit parade?
Well, speaking of all of us saying the same thing, let's do foreign real quick, or international now, where we have Corpus Christi, Honeyland, Les Miserables, Pain and Glory, and Parasite. Well, remember, this used to be the category that always swerved away from its frontrunners, but that seems to have died down, especially when they get picture nominations and are potential frontrunners in said category. So I'm sure Parasite will do just fine here, because why wouldn't it?
Ashley.
Yeah, if we go on the precedence of like Roma last year, Parasite can still get this. It won't be like somebody else will get some other recognition. So yeah, Parasite for me as well.
Yeah, because I remember we kind of, or at least I was almost getting a little paranoid that Cold War might have actually
Yeah,
made
last
it.
year.
If Antonio Banderas was more of a Best Actor challenger, I could see like a huge swerve, this going to Pain and Glory. But no, it's not going to happen. Parasite,
All right. So that would move us on to documentary.
Mm-hmm.
apparently.
This category has been getting interesting the last few years. Uh, we have American Factory, The Cave, The Edge of Democracy, For Sama, and Honeyland. So, obviously, we lost our front runner, as usual. And then there's the thing where there's usually what seems like it would be the runner up, or at least more so last year. And then that weird year that Icarus won. Uh, where so like we had after we lost Won't You Be My Neighbor, RBG was there,
Mm-hmm.
but then Free Solo got a huge push at the last minute there. I feel like American Factory is RBG, and obviously I wouldn't rule out Honeyland because of the double nomination, but pretty much, and I think I alluded to this in the Guild prediction video we did. I've been leaning towards Fursama for a while, and its BAFTA outcome certainly isn't hurting that. So I'm gonna stick with Fursama. Also, it's worth noting that we were talking about American Factory and The Edge of Democracy are on Netflix, and Fursama's on YouTube. And I was pissed because I couldn't find Honeyland anywhere. I found Honeyland. It's hanging out on Hulu for anybody that didn't know.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm gonna say Fursama.
Just swayed by the previous category, I'm going Honeyland.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to stick back with American Factory.
Yay, we're finally different on something.
Hold on.
Oh.
Brage says with the Annies, there was a scandal involving DreamWorks cheating within voting on nominations for Kung Fu Panda and How to Train Your Dragon when they
Whoa.
won every category instead of a variety of winners. Top Hat calls this the Best Parasite Award,
Yeah.
what we just gave out a few minutes ago. Cold War got a Criterion release, and he wouldn't be surprised if American Factory won and Mr. Top Hat, but for Sama is his choice. Next.
I feel we're moving to the category where we don't really look into it and just pinprick. Are we getting to those three, AJ?
Yes, we are.
Oh, Lord. Let's do this.
I think we're gonna start with animated,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
where we have Daughter, Hair Love, Kit Bull, Memorable, and Sister. So I had one picked here already that I wasn't like entirely sure. This is basically it's basically what we said when we were predicting the nominations. I feel like it could just be anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I know voting started pretty recently, didn't it?
Um, Come on, Gold Derby. Tell me from like a week ago when all the voting was. Uh, voting opened. Voting opens today for the Oscars and closes on the 4th. So we can sway people's vote. Also, the other nice thing about this, none of the 5 are in the Annies. The winner of that one was Uncle Thomas Accounting for the Days.
Of course it was. All right,
um,
so I had pretty much already picked this, but then I was kind of like pushed there even more by something else. If voting is starting today, like now, it had occurred to me that there is the looming tragedy that's still happening to the point that it's getting its own tribute on the night of. So people are probably really feeling a story about fathers and daughters right now. And I'm not looking at the one that's actually called Daughter. I am I am looking at Hair Love, so I'm going to say that.
Ashley?
Hair Love was so good. It's refreshing that I actually, Pixar films don't seemingly have it even on now, like with a short film and whatever. It was the only thing that made Angry Birds 2 fucking watchable. Let's be honest. And also, um, it's good to see a bunch of people that kickstarted a short film, possibly getting an Oscar for their belief in it. So I want Kickstarter to technically win an Oscar. So yeah, Hair Love.
Let's see. Bright Guy says Sister. Top Hat says Hair Love. Academy loves getting sentimental with animated short. I'm going with Kit Bull.
You're going with Pixar, which isn't a surprise.
It's not a good idea, an animated short.
Whoa.
Honestly.
You say that. But if we have a look at the records, normally
It's a
it's
lot less of a short thing than animated
well,
is.
yeah, you might have screwed yourself because it's normally every other year, and by the looks of it, even years is when it's Disney's win. So we had Paperman 2012, Feast 2014, Piper 2016, and Bow last year. So I mean, they could give it because technically it is Pixar, but it wasn't actually sort of put on any Pixar or Disney film. It was just released on YouTube and Disney Plus.
I will be seeing it around 11:20 tomorrow morning.
Are we ready?
We're moving on.
I'm just confused. The film's 9 minutes long, yet the score apparently is 12 minutes and 48 seconds. What?
All right, guys.
Oh.
Let's band together as one on this. All right. For live action shorts, we have Brotherhood, Nefta Football Club, The Neighbor's Window, Saria, and A Sister. Either you're going to say Nefta Football Club or you're a traitor. I know that I'm saying Nefta Football Club.
Oh, and you're saying it, right?
I'm very excited to see the donkey with headphones on the big screen tomorrow at 1:50 in the afternoon.
The annoying thing is, I think it might be Saria, but just for the whole last 6 weeks, I am selecting Nefta Football Club, even though I'm pretty sure it's not going to win. It's going to be, I think, Saria or maybe a sister, considering the plot of them. But, just for the fucking meme that we've dragged out of this shit, donkey with headphones.
Yeah, because
I have to stand. I have to stand for it.
Yeah, because even if it is anything else, if Donkey with Evidence is going to take one of us down, it's going to take all of us down.
Yes.
Exactly. And I hope there's no one in that theater
I mean,
tomorrow because I'm gonna pop like crazy when it happens.
so don't worry, it's early on before you even get to the title thing. It comes across screen and then it's an after football club. So you just go, yay! And then the titles are going to come up and people are going to go, why is he cheering before the credits?
Bry Guy brings up a comment, and he would know above anybody else on this panel. There's been so many memes during the award coverage, from Mark to everyone to Hot Damn. This meme this year is from a short, not a movie.
Yeah. Don't forget, will it help? Um,
Yeah.
I mean, technically, Tom Hanks has helped as well.
Don't forget about Roger Deakins. Deakins Watch.
Deacon's Watch went on hiatus when he actually won something.
He's about to win again, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
All right, are we ready for documentary short?
Mm-hmm.
The one I can't watch theatrically. Thanks, guys.
We have In the Absence, Learning to Skateboard in a War Zone If You're a Girl, Life Overtakes Me, St. Louis Superman, and Walk, Run, Cha Cha. The second I saw the title, I said to myself, Learning to Skateboard in a War Zone If You're a Girl is probably going to win. So I'm going to stick with that.
Ashley, what do you got?
Um, because I think it's interesting the refugee angle, and I think something with refugees is going to be getting in here. I'm going to go with Life Overtakes Me because it's the refugee crisis in Sweden, with apparently, the details is how they go into a coma-like illness called resignation syndrome. It's not even Stockholm syndrome. It's like, and I think if you're looking for something that's actually going to sort of showcase something, I think that might be the way they go. They always like to go something not too obvious.
These are stabs in the dark every single time when it comes to these categories. Top Hat says, don't underestimate Brandy.
Yeah,
And he says,
I want Brandy at the bloody thing, please.
Skateboard. My first jump immediately with this, when I saw exactly, I'm on AJ's side on this one. When I saw that title, I was like, "Yep, this is happening." And then I looked at it, and I was like, "Walk, Run, Cha Cha" jumps out at me just by the name alone. St. Louis Superman jumps out at me. We all see how well Waiting for Superman did here, so maybe the word Superman is kind of a death knell for this category. Um, yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. We're gonna get our Darby Allen on.
Oh wait, I get it now.
Yes.
But he isn't a girl.
No, he's Darby Allen. He has a skateboard. That's all you need to know.
True.
All right, should we do another easy one?
Yes, please.
All right, let's do makeup real quick.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
We got Bombshell, Joker, Judy, Maleficent, and 1917. As soon as that first still as Charlize came out, everybody thought the same thing. That is a shoe-in. So unless something weird and drastic happens, I'm gonna say Bombshell.
Ashley.
Considering the fact that they even wrinkled up Malcolm McDowell's face for about 4 minutes, yeah, Bombshell.
So I saw something recently that was saying that Judy had a chance to win this. And I'm like, no, no. This has been Bombshell since day one. And as we finally are at the finish line, it's got to win something, and this is what it's going to win.
Does that mean Misbehavior is going to win next year because Greg Kinnear is Bob Hope?
I still want to see. I told you before when you brought this up on the Popcast recently. I want to see this.
Trust me, tonight I am sending the trailers for that and what's the other one? Greed, just for AJ's sake.
Brian says it's been 5 years. Is AJ's throat still sore? And Bennett Miller was nominated for Foxcatcher.
That's still fucking awesome whenever I think about it.
I'll always be there. There'll always be a rasp
Any other movie?
because of Mark.
Any other movie winning would be The Real Bombshell. Ha ha ha. Eh.
I mean, I'm guessing you're going Bombshell, aren't you, Owen?
I said that.
Okay, I lost track. I'm just wondering whether the hair might somehow sway it and Maleficent gets in. That's the only one of the three, depending how they interpret it.
Disney's dangerous when it comes to these type of categories.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't be a shock. But nah, it's Bombshell.
Or do they go 1917 because the war wound?
No.
All right. Speaking of, are we gonna do everybody's favorite categories? Let's do the sounds.
Uh oh, there we
go. Let's start with mixing.
Okay.
Where we have Ad Astra, Ford vs. Ferrari, Joker, 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Now, of course, the easy thing to do is to just double up. Especially when there's a war movie involved. But, as we talked about briefly, when I don't even remember what brought this up, but the idea of, I think it was when we were trying to deal with Dunkirk. And Dunkirk was easy. That was just one where it said, yeah, just go with both of them, and that paid off. But I remember when we were debating Dunkirk, I was like, what have the war movies done recently? And American Sniper split with Whiplash, and Hacksaw Ridge split with Arrival. And each one took a different one. So there was nothing to go on at all.
Right.
But I was kind of feeling a split here this year. Especially since totally random shit like Arrival taking, I think it was sound editing over Hacksaw Ridge, that can happen. If the rest of the Academy puts that much thought into it.
Yeah. The guilds, by the way, went. Let me have a quick look. Mixing went to
There was
Ferrari.
it was 1917 was snubbed by the sound mixing category, or the sound mixing guild. And some people thought, well, maybe it was a coming out too late thing, but then Star Wars was there, and it was nobody really knew how that happened.
With the editing guild, it's sort of split. If you want to look at it with that, with Ford v Ferrari getting effects and Foley and dialogue and ADR going for 1917.
Yeah, so I am gonna split mixing and editing, but I'm gonna go in apparently entirely against the guild and say 1917 for mixing.
Ashley.
Ford v Ferrari.
Let's see. Top Hat says 1917. And I agree with Ashley. Ford versus Ferrari.
All right, speaking of sound editing, as usual, there is one change. Yeah. Ford vs. Ferrari, Joker, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Star Wars. This is where I said Ford vs. Ferrari. And if I have those reversed, I'm going to be really fucking pissed off.
Right. Ashley.
This is where I have 1917. Please say What's Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Let's see. Top.
Please say What's Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Top Hat says Ford versus Ferrari for editing and 1917 for mixing. Frog Guy also mentions Tom Hardy getting in for supporting actor for The Revenant. Yeah, I remember that. That reaction was great.
Hell yes.
His
And
reaction was
I just watched The Revenant again a couple of months ago, and it's like that performance is still like one of the best of the decade in any category.
and honestly, it's probably a sucker bet to not do a split here, but I'm not going to. Ford versus Ferrari.
Ooh. He's
I
got
don't
it a
think
bit.
I would never call it a sucker bet to double up. That's pretty.
No. It always depends how you interpret it, but for me, the mix, I'd say the basics that I am aware of, the mixing of Ford versus Ferrari was really crisp, and I think the editing of like getting all the 59,000 vox pops of like the people in the trenches, I just think that fits there more so.
I think the main thing that once again, if I have this right, I can never be sure. The thing that swayed me about putting 1917 and mixing was taking the score into account on top of everything else.
And that's always the problem, does it? Is it just the actual technical sounds, or does the score get stood alone rather than sort of mixing into the thing? But yeah, I can certainly see from that point as well.
Next.
How about the music categories?
Okay.
I haven't picked song yet, so let's start with that. One. I had a choice that I've been sticking with the whole season, and then yesterday my brother got in my head, and now I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
I'm intrigued. Please enlighten us.
Our nominees are I Can't Let You Throw Yourself Away from Toy Story 4, I'm Gonna Love Me Again from Rocket Man, I'm Standing With You from Breakthrough, Into the Unknown for Frozen 2, and Stand Up for Harriet. My choice throughout the whole season was Rocket Man. Easy. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm going with. And I'm sticking with it. Whether it be Critics' Choice, whether it be Globe, whether it be anything, Elton John.
Makes the most
Then
sense.
my brother was like, well, there was the whole diversity thing, and Cynthia Erivo did her best to break that up, but it's like they're still unhappy because she's one person. And it's like, all right, we'll take the diversity thing one thing more. If you're not happy with us just nominating Cynthia Erivo, let's give her something. And she would do literally what we saw last year, where they would say, hey, you're not going to win actress. Take this instead.
Ooh, that's a dangerous prospect.
See what I mean? He got right in my fucking head, and now I can't get it out.
I would just brush that one off right away.
I mean, my gut is still saying. And the other thing he brought up was, but judging by nominations and everything that happened and what we were expecting, Harriet does have one more nomination than Rocket Man. So, because Rocket Man did not do what we thought it was going to do. Oh, but they thought enough of Harriet to nominate Erivo. Do they think that highly of her that they would do this?
Or is it because she was Harriet Tubman and actually just did a good performance of like an American? Because remember, BAFTA didn't give a shit about Cynthia. They went with Jessie Buckley instead, which I don't have that much of a problem with. But if you're going for a British actress, stick her in instead of Charlize or ScarJo or was it Ronan that BAFTA went with as well? Yeah.
Ashley. I still didn't pick. I didn't
Yeah,
start.
No, it sounded like that's what you were picking.
Remember, he said that he needs to decide it like on the spot.
Well, we've got to keep things moving. Why don't we do the I'm in a restaurant and I haven't decided what I want to eat yet thing? Go around the table and come back to me.
Why do you think I just said Ashley? Because I knew that was the direction you were going.
Oh, right.
He's my best friend for a reason. I know when he's trying to pass the buck.
My fear is somehow, for no fucking reason, Into the Unknown wins, but I'll go with I'm Gonna Love Me Again, even though I think it isn't that good of a song.
Yeah, because that's another thing. Are they, given the turnout, are they feeling remorseful about Rocket Man's turnout? That there's too many goddamn factors in this category.
I mean, I think the only thing you could say right now is the only thing that's out of this is probably going to be Breakthrough.
You don't say that.
It's going to lose us 1 point regardless. We're all going to get that point wrong.
It's got to be there for some sort of bloody reason.
Not always.
She's the Streep of the song category. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Let's see. Top Hat says Rocket Man. Bry Guy says I keep forgetting about this, but probably during the Popcast party when each category has revealed their winners, they can discuss who was the best winner of each category of 2010.
No, I just noticed Diane Warren is Roger Deakins. This is her 11th nomination. She's won 0.
She's Susan Lucci, and she won't win this year either.
And the fact that she's been nominated for 3 straight years. Stand Up for Something with Common back 2 years ago for what's it fucking called? I don't want to hover over the thing. The one with Chadwick Boseman. I'm hovering over it.
Anyway.
Marshall.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously last year was I'll Fight from Mudbound, I think.
Mighty River.
All right.
Yeah, because with Marshall we had Stand Up for Something. Then Breakthroughs is I'm Standing With You, and Harriet's is Stand Up. Do you see a trend here?
Diane Warren could have won for the year with Gaga, but lost Ashley's favorite Sam Smith.
Yeah, I just saw that, and it's like, you fucking bastards.
And if Stand Up wins, Arrivo gets an EGOT.
Ooh, closely following up. Or no, Lady Gaga hasn't fully done it yet, has she?
No, not yet. So I'm going to concur and go with Rocket Man in this one. I don't want to bet against Elton John at the Oscars.
Even though this would only be his second win.
See,
I'm just going with him being the most high-profile person in this category.
That's the thing.
With momentum.
That's the problem. That's what this category has become over the last few years. It's not really been the best song all the time. It's who's the most famous.
I mean, we're not going to have Brendan Urie going to be performing at the Oscars. So, I mean, Into the Unknown, I think, might be out of this. So, yeah, Rocket Man makes sense to me.
All right, it was mine. We always say to refrain from really, really kicking yourself, go with the very first instinct.
Of course, which makes sense.
All right, that puts me back at Elton John, so I'll stick with it.
All right. Score?
Yeah, speaking of the whole, if you're in the music category and you've gone so long without a win, fuck you anyway. For score, we have Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story 1917, and Star Wars. At the beginning of this season, I would have told you Newman and not even thought about it. Thomas Newman. Gotta be specific now.
Damn you, Randy!
But not only given the fact that Joker is a movie with 11 nominations, not only does it have a female composer, which is something where if they've ever awarded it, it's been a long ass time to where nobody remembers. Unless I'm mistaken. And it was immediately a standout aspect of the movie. So, I am going to say Joker.
Ashley.
I'm saying 1917.
Well, let's see. I'll show that. Let's see. Gaga only has. Josephine says, would love to have seen Wook's chick perform Glass of Soju at the Oscars. Top Hat said, I feel bad for Thomas Newman, but I got to go with Joker. Ashley, can you see the chat? Please respond to Josephine's comment because I'm not saying that out loud.
It's not scrolling for me at the minute. Fuck.
Who would win in a fight, the man in the bunker or Joker? And then, of course, the response.
Well, one has a knife and one has a gun, so
You don't bring a knife to a gunfight. Everyone knows that. You bring a flamethrower like a real man.
Okay, that's good too. I was gonna say you charge a gun with your knife you run, but yeah, either Pacino movie works in this scenario.
When it was getting with the guy,
yeah,
when it
there's
was
no
going
need.
guy with the bunker, it's like technically the rat in the bunker because he blow the fuck out of you.
So
Rat wins.
yeah, this isn't a difficult choice for me. I'm very happy to be able to. I'm going to say it, Joker.
All right. I hope I haven't overlooked anything with this weird ass order, but next I'm looking at costumes.
Yeah, that looks about right. It's a weird order.
So costumes, production design, and that just leaves the Big Ten, right?
Yeah. We've glossed over one of the big. No, we didn't. Never mind. I just didn't write it down. I was saying we didn't do cinematography yet. Well, I may have just not written it down.
And you said Joker, didn't you, Ryan?
Oh yeah, of course. Did we do cinematography?
No. I save cinematography until right before the screenplays.
That's right. Okay, yeah. So it's still to come. Okay, I just want to make sure that
I consider the Big Ten the 8 plus cinematography and editing.
So does that mean we're going costume or
costumes, then production design, then editing?
Right.
So I'm getting a heads up here. Do you think Hopkins and Pesci will show up at the Oscars?
Pesci might, if everybody else is there, maybe. I heard somebody's theory was he'll skip the ceremony and go to the parties.
Likely.
I wouldn't think, because Hopkins usually, as far as I remember, Hopkins misses a lot of the times he's been nominated.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay. Costumes.
All right. We have The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Is this one as easy as I feel like it is? Because I just look at one thing here and it's like I feel so comfortable going with it to where I'm not even second guessing myself, which is probably really dangerous. I'm looking right at Jojo Rabbit. So, yeah.
Ashley, what are you looking at?
Yeah, I'll say Jojo Rabbit as well. I nearly got swayed because there was literally a piece on the news over here because Sandy Powell got like a contribution to UK film at the UK Film Critics Association Awards that apparently happened like tonight ahead of the BAFTAs on Sunday. But that might be too much of a British skew. I finally remembered the fucking phrase. British skew. Considering the guild and everything, my vote would be Jojo Rabbit as well.
Okay. Josephine says, just finished reading Find Me, which was the sequel to Call Me By Your Name. It was fantastic. It should have been nominated for cinematography. Difficult to say.
I remember that snub being surprising.
Yeah. I think we talked about it on the podcast when everything came out. Difficult to say for costumes. No real front runner. Top hat says, Josephine says either JoJo or Hollywood. I'll put it this way. When I got started this morning, I was thinking immediately, I already wrote down without question Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And, honestly, I was looking at the predictions and everything and how I had for the rest of the run to go. And this was the one I wasn't sure about. I felt a lot more confident in the rest of my Once Upon a Time in Hollywood predictions, given the fact it's my favorite movie of the year. So I wanted to make sure that I'm confident in what I want versus what I think is going to happen. And costume design was the questionable one. So going with Bridges or Duran made no sense to me because they've won recently, but that doesn't matter. And Sandy Powell always makes sense, but not in this case. And at the end of the day, it all came down to just saying, it makes sense in my head. It's the only award it's going to get for the night, and I'm okay with that. Jojo Rabbit.
All right. Does that put us at production design?
It does put us in
Let's
production.
try and have a quick look at the guild, see what they had on the costumes. So, oh wow, yeah. It's the only Maleficent was in there for sci-fi fantasy, but the fact that contemporary went to Knives Out, like, right? So that doesn't help.
Like was said in chat, there's not really a front runner, so it's not
Yeah,
really
to
a
be
sucker bet to go
fair,
with anybody.
hang on. Yeah, because Joker wasn't even in contemporary.
Nope.
Or would it be classed as period because it's supposed to be set in the 80s?
Yeah, that's a.
Yeah, Irishman's considered contemporary, even though quite a lot of it is period. So prod design.
Production design, AJ.
All right. I'm going to forewarn you. Production design is the last one I haven't decided on yet.
Oh boy.
The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, 1970, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite.
It's down to two.
Down to two. Quite honestly, if Jojo Rabbit surprised, I wouldn't be mad.
Same.
But I do think it's probably down to those two. 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Sam Mendes and his not repeating sets or recreating LA. And I said in the at BAFTA, I went with 1917 because I thought BAFTA voters wouldn't have the same connection to LA that the rest of the voters probably would. So, yeah. Like I said, if they really love 1917 that much, as much as some people might think they do, I can see them just sort of almost lazily saying, okay, then just give it all the tech categories because of what it is.
God,
And
I hope not.
it's clearly a technical achievement, and how many people are just going to see it as that and go, well, I guess it'd be those things then. Or if they're going to actually think about it for a second. And once again, not that it wouldn't deserve that. I mean, that's insane to have a set that does sets that don't repeat themselves. I mean, I don't want to undermine that by any means whatsoever. But I do, and obviously it's dangerous for me to go with my favorite movie of the decade because
Plus, to be fair, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has got a lot of sets that don't show up, that often.
yeah, yeah, I am going to say Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Whoa!
Ashley, go.
1917.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
All right.
Hold on, AJ, 1 second.
To the
Tom
credits.
Pat says this is the part where we start kicking. Production is also Hollywood. Josephine says I want Parasite to win production design. If JoJo is or once wins, I won't throw a fit. Fry Guy says it begins. Go ahead.
Are we going for
All right.
Are we going for the obvious one first, or the one that is the key one?
The obvious one is going to be second.
Right.
Already writing it down right now.
We have a very interesting race in editing.
Okay, here we go.
How appropriate. We have Ford vs. Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, and Parasite. I think these are cut off. I'm assuming these are matching.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so weirdly enough, Ford vs. Ferrari is the safe choice, despite the fact that Parasite and Jojo took the guild.
Yeah.
And and honestly, you've got How Much They Loved Joker, and you've got Schoonmaker. I honestly feel like it could be any of these.
It can be.
There isn't one I'm saying that won't happen. But I'm building something. I did make a decision. I did make a decision. Uh, now, if they love Parasite that much as I think they might, being like the most beloved movie of the year, the movie that got that standing ovation at SAG just for existing, the movie that has no visible detractors, it has the guild win. Parasite is so incredibly likely here.
True. But
And I think we may be underestimating how much they love Jojo Rabbit. I only have Jojo Rabbit winning one thing, whatever that may be.
Costume design.
Oh, did I cut out a little bit? I noticed you froze for like a second.
Maybe.
you've been frozen for like the last 10 minutes.
Oh.
Shoot.
I was saying, I have Jojo Rabbit winning one, but I would not be surprised at all if it got more than that at all.
Yeah, same.
Whatever that may be.
Fair.
But I went the safe route and I said Ford versus Ferrari. Which it's still weird to say the safe choice did not win the guild.
What do you got, Ashley?
Parasite. I'm flipping, probably relying too much on the guilds, but as much as I appreciate Felmer's work, editing something down to 3.5 hours seems like you didn't edit enough. Plus, if we go by previous years of the editing, they like to go to things that cut more often. So Ford versus Ferrari, considering how many bloody shots in The Irishman are sort of like long shots, that'd be completely the opposite for Irishman.
There's something else that made me lean towards Ford versus Ferrari, and it's gonna sound weird when I first say it, but hear me out. Though you may get what I'm leaning towards. It was the picture nomination, and I know that sounds weird because all 5 of them are picture nominees.
Okay.
But it was they loved Ford versus Ferrari in a way that was enough that it got a picture nomination. And given that it's
despite the acting snubs and the major other stuff, yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that deters this or makes it stronger, but it's like there was still a love there, and it was always going to be the type of movie they loved more in the technical aspects. So yeah, that just kind of like it's not some tell-all thing, but it's just something else that was in my head was they did love it enough that it managed to squeeze itself at the bottom of the picture lineup. So
All right. Josephine says Parasite should win editing 100%. Top Hat says editing is such a weird category. I'm going to go with Joker. I have no confidence in any of the options. Unique answer. Well, so you remember back in August, I put a lot of stake in Ford versus Ferrari before I saw the movie. And I've been following it the entire season and wanting it to do well. And I said it would do very well. Didn't happen the way I wanted it to. After watching it for a second time, I realized how great the movie is and how much it really should be in these categories. And Bale got screwed out of not getting a nomination, among other things. That being said, when it comes to
thanks, Don Quixote.
I don't know about screwed because I'd put Sandler ahead of him, but I get what you mean.
Well, he definitely should have had he should have been nominated before other people that are in the category. We'll put it that way.
How?
And Sandler is definitely on that list too.
If you wanted to just stick him in supporting actor, take out Chianti.
I don't deny that, and I probably will never get through the Two Popes, so I can't stay awake long enough.
I'm fucking annoyed. I can't find that as a fucking GIF on anywhere. I've literally searched Anthony Hopkins eating GIF, and there's nothing. God damn it.
But yeah, at the end of the day, I always go with what brought you to the dance, and I'm gonna say that pretty much everything it's nominated for, it's got a really good shot to win, and I'm gonna go with it again in this category. Not only is it winning sound editing, it's winning regular editing. Ford versus Ferrari.
I think the term you're looking for is film editing, which I believe is the full title of the category.
So it needs
it's winning sound editing and regular editing. That's what I said.
It needs to be classified as other editing.
It's going to get both editing awards. There, continue.
Well, we can't because we all just say Roger Deakins now, don't we?
Yeah, begrudgingly. I'm honestly begrudgingly here. This is the only one I'm okay with saying.
Oh my god.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and waste everybody's time and list the nominees. The Irishman, Joker, The Lighthouse, 1971, Sometime in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Roger Deakins, obviously.
I'm not going to say begrudgingly here, but
no, if it deserves anything, it's with how beautiful it looks in some of the bits. No, in fact, in a lot of the bits. Never before has a fucking cloudy, murky World War I no man's land looked so beautiful.
Yeah, because we didn't even get a curveball this time. Like, remember in what was it, 2016, when Lion took the Guild for some reason?
No, they got wise. They got wise.
All right, is that it?
I
Chat
think now we're going to get pretty obvious.
now. I'm just looking at chat, and we've only got Top Hat saying Deakins for the Deek wins. Like, I don't know whether anybody else is going to say anything other than Deakins. I'd like it. I don't think it's happening, but
I would like Richardson to win this, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, we can just be happy he's here.
And even Lauren Shure here too. I love the way Joker looks.
Yeah, because like I said, this was the category they could have gone crazy in on nominations day, and they played it super duper safe. So
and the Lighthouse.
yeah,
Because Portrait should have probably been in here too, and it's not. So, and I judge that just by watching the trailer. I could see why it would belong here.
Hidden Life kind of surprises me too.
Yeah.
And Parasite's not here, which is kind of weird.
Happy birthday to Christian Bale.
Oh,
Ironically enough, and Olivia Colman. Both Aquarians. Thank you, Josephine.
okay.
All right,
Josephine wants Lighthouse to win, but are you begrudgingly saying Deakins and Josephine?
That's my job. No one steals my gimmick. We'll get there. Don't worry. I'm not
Sadly,
happy
then.
about it.
Sadly, can Josephine be sadly Deakins?
Screenplays.
Oh, the 8.
Yeah, let's blow through the top 8 very quickly.
Yeah, this would be very easy.
All right, for adapted, we have The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, and The Two Popes. As I've been saying since nominations day, I was all in on Zalian until Gerwig's director snub that everybody threw a fit about, so they're going to want to make it up to her, and she's going to take it here, probably with ease.
Woo! Ashley.
Owen's woo obviously means that he's going for his girl.
I'm going for my girl. You're right.
Which, of course, means I'm going for the Two Popes. No, fuck you, I'm going Little Women.
To be fair, Ashley, I thought you were going to go Taika Waititi here.
I don't think Oscar is that genius. In all honesty,
There is a split fraction of a second I thought you were serious.
BAFTA, I think, is going to be the
half-second.
BAFTA is the olive branch for JoJo, and depending when these votes get cast, if they suddenly get cast after the BAFTAs have been done, maybe it does stand a chance. But I think because of the whole hubbub and bubhub about the female situation, at least in the director category, I think they're going to want to give it a nod here.
One thing that we're completely glossing over here is the fact contender here that we don't know about. I doubt it, but it's possible.
Oh, it also Gerwig winning here would also do something that I've kind of been sure was happening, which would be we were talking about last year. Every picture nominee got something.
Mm-hmm.
Not this year.
It's like that's going to happen with the exception of one. And then, of course, it's a movie with another Scorsese movie with 10 nominations that's going to go home empty-handed, unless visual effects wants to throw a weird-ass curveball.
Oh, trust me, it might. Wait until they digitally bring back James Dean, and that'll win. That'll be the one that's least likely to win if it's going to replace people.
But it also makes sense. It also makes sense that we would have a picture nominee every picture nominee gets something last year and one misses out this year, since there's one more nominee this year than there was last year.
And I'm sure it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that the movie that's going to blank at the Oscars and the Big Nine is the wrong movie to miss out. Let's see. Top Hat says Going Little Woman, but I'm hoping for JoJo. Josephine says if there was, imagine there was a petting zoo in Parasite. They brought donkey phones.
Yeah, he would have fit in perfectly at the birthday party. He would
absolutely.
He would
in the tail of the donkey with headphones. Yeah, totally. Right itself. I want JoJo to win. Go ahead.
The headphones would have made him totally oblivious to all the carnage.
Exactly. And we could have seen it from his perspective, too. Even Daldry make that thing an Oscar winner, sir. JoJo to win adapted screenplay regarding Greta for Little Women. Sympathy is stupid. That's not feminist. That's tokenism. Me off how the female directors are recognized or noticed partially because they were actresses first. Actress privilege. Olivia Wilde.
I was just gonna say I'm not touching that.
Nope. I just said hi, Olivia Wilde, just in case she's watching.
All right, original screenplay.
Yes, since Ashley has disappeared from the face of the earth.
I'll explain myself slowly. We have Knives Out, Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. Now, obviously, Tarantino's been doing well so far, which is amazing.
Oh yeah.
But as I've been saying, Tarantino's absence at WGA is not going to hurt him because he's ineligible as he always is.
Yep.
But if Parasite inevitably wins there, and I know it's kind of an oxymoron to say if inevitably, but I feel like that's going to be when we start seeing a bit of a sway, and given the other things that I'm going to say, or thing that I'm going to say later, it's kind of just perfect math. So I'm going to say that Parasite takes this away from Tarantino in this last stretch.
Ashley.
I'm sticking with Tarantino.
Yeah. I'm sure it doesn't take anyone to watch these videos for more than 5 minutes to realize what I'm going with here.
Noah Baumbach.
Even though I still think he's winning WGA and going to shock everybody when it happens, and I'll be the first one that said it. I mean, honestly, this is Tarantino's award to lose at this point, and I think that he's getting it. Because thanks to things we don't speak about until later, he's going to get screwed out of Best Director again. So let's give him screenplay one more time.
All right. So a question is raised as we come into acting.
What's the question? Seriously.
We typically do the whole analysis thing, and it's like, well, if possibly this thing could happen because of these different reasons. Do we pretend there's a race, or do we just say it?
There's really no reason. Well, if we're going to go that direction, that's generally what I do in between. Let's see. Top Hat says, Shrek, why is everyone stabbing each other? Dame Mule, welcome. It's funny how Irishman and Marriage Story were tipped to sweep, and now it looks like they'll go home with one Oscar between them. Yeah, seems likely. Top Hat says original was Hollywood. Knives Out would be a fun upset. Josephine says, because Tarantino won twice, you think Parasite or Knives Out can pull an upset? Parasite wouldn't be an upset at this point, but it's very possible. Acting races are so boring this year, to put it bluntly. Yeah. And that's the reason why we're going into this.
Like I said, when we did BAFTA, I told you about the Johansson idea that I played around with. But, I mean, I think we've seen these races enough I mean, we did just see a somewhat surprise last year with Coleman beating Close, but for the most part, they pretty much stick to what they look like, right?
Right.
So, supporting actress is Kathy Bates for Richard Jewell, Laura Dern for Marriage Story, Scarlett Johansson for Jojo Rabbit, Florence Pugh for Little Women, and Margot Robbie for Bond. A lot of people have been toying with the idea that maybe Johansson will steal one of her nominations since she's here twice. And like I said, if I had to say she was going to steal one, it would be taking into account that JoJo's momentum is always going up.
Yeah.
And I was saying, Glenn Close showed us last year that career wins apparently aren't a priority as much as they used to be. So I guess you could say Laura Dern isn't entirely safe based on that alone. But like I said in the BAFTA video, what are we even talking about?
Exactly.
I'm going to say Laura Dern.
Ashley.
So there is something to talk about in the race, even though I'm still going to say Laura Dern, and Owen's going to say Laura Dern.
Right.
Right. Something I didn't know until the details of the luncheon came out. Laura Dern is the person that calls out the register and organises the photo every year. Except for this year, because, she actually is nominated for it.
It was Ileana Douglas this year, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
doing it instead.
Oh, sweet. Rock and roller coaster.
So she got. So I think for her appreciation of naming them off every year, they're gonna give it to her. It's a lifetime achievement for the Academy for naming everybody. Being the fucking MC at the restaurant, Mr. and Mrs. Fanshawe. Like,
Well, yeah, I'd much rather this go to Scarlett Johansson or Florence Pugh because I love Greta to death, and everyone knows that. But quite easily, Florence Pugh is the best part of Little Women, to me at least, when it comes to the main cast. Um, Laura Dern can't be beaten. I know it's mentioned in chat that they're predicting an upset, says Jeffrey Killow from 2 nights ago, joining us. Says Dern may not win because JoJo has done some surprising wins like costume design and it's beloved. I would not have a problem if we get a surprise on Oscar Sunday, but I don't think it's.
if you want the right thing, I would say take out either Robbie or Bates for Thomasin McKenzie's performance in JoJo, and
Yep.
have JoJo have double nominations, because that's just as good performance as ScarJo's is. I would argue.
And don't forget, in August I was predicting Thomasin McKenzie to get in for actress. So this was before I knew anything about the categories. So it's like I've been liking this performance for a while. Josephine said the same thing. Am I the only one that thought Thomasin was better than Scarlett? If I were a voter, I'd write her in.
I mean,
Uh,
I need to double check something.
Top Hat says Dern. My heart roots for Johansson though. Damule says I wish we all knew who was coming in second place in all these guilds. That lack of information makes things hard to predict. For all we know, something like Little Women could be overperforming.
Yeah, I'm correct
Possibly.
I am correct in my checking. Why the fuck hasn't Thomasin McKenzie been yet nominated for BAFTA Rising Star? Considering the past 2 years that she's had. Is it just down to her getting naked for the fucking true history of the Kelly gang that's going to make people go, oh, vote, vote?
Jeffrey says I'd love it if Bates won. Bry Guy says Scorsese, Phoenix, Hanks, Pesci, Hopkins, Banderas, Almodovar, Johansson, Driver, Robbie, Ronan, and Zalian all didn't show up luncheon.
Yeah, there were a shitload missing.
Wow. Like the Razzies. If let this at the SAGs, lest we forget, gave Parasite a standing ovation. I think it's upsetting. We'll get there.
Oh my fucking god, are you kidding me? Thomasin McKenzie
Sure.
and Anya Taylor-Joy are leading in Edgar Wright's new film that's out in September. With Matt Smith and Diana Rigg and Terrence Stamp. Sign me the fuck up.
I'll be a tad bit busy in September, but yeah, it's something I probably want to check out.
and co-written by the co-writer of 1917. If that's the case, Christy Wilson Cairns has had a good fucking 2020.
Oh, Brian, I also mentioned Elton John didn't make the luncheon, but I'm sure that's not a shock to many people either. Speaking of categories that really don't need an explanation, and happy to say,
Hopefully.
All right. Supporting actor, we have Tom Hanks for A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Anthony Hopkins for The Two Popes, Al Pacino for The Irishman, Joe Pesci for The Irishman, Brad Pitt, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Is that the last time I have to say that lineup finally?
yes, it is actually.
All right, I'll just repeat what I said in the BAFTA video. There's a clear shoe-in, but even though I am saying it, when it's the win that I really, really want the most, I say it in fear. But yeah, I'm gonna say Brad Pitt, obviously.
Ashley.
Considering how people say that I'm on crack, next Sunday will prove it isn't that. It's an LSD dipped cigarette. Brad Pitt.
Yep, without a doubt.
Although I would not
There's
be surprised
really
if
no
the
reason for me to
Academy
even
was
say it.
complete
Come
dick.
on.
I would not be surprised if the Academy was complete dicks and just gave it to Pacino from absolutely fucking nowhere.
No, it'd be Pesci before Pacino. Josephine says, do you think they didn't campaign Thomason harder because the Searchlight thought ScarJo would have a better chance? ScarJo had Marvel privilege. She's more
It was,
known, but I mean,
I don't know. Was it not? Was it not a tad riskier to go with Johansson since she already had Marriage Story out there?
yeah, totally.
Because I don't imagine at the start of this there were a shitload of people. I'm sure maybe there were some, but there weren't a shitload of people that immediately said, "Oh, she'll get a double nomination easily."
Not at all.
Because double nominations aren't that easy.
Plus, would Thomason be considered leading as well?
That's what I said in August.
Like with Roman Griffin Davis
I
be
would-
considered for lead actor.
Yes, absolutely.
I would say Mackenzie's supporting, but that could just be me.
Also, fair play to Taika Waititi, because I probably won't remember by the time we actually get to the awards, on actually letting the children get the top billing and not just going Scarlett Johansson.
Let's see. Phoenix is the reason that the luncheon was vegan. Jeffrey says, is that Horror Nights' time at Disney in September? It's Universal, but yes, it is.
Wait,
That's
so
the start of the release.
Phoenix was the reason the entire luncheon was vegan?
Apparently.
He didn't fucking show up. They did it for
Yep.
nothing.
Exactly. Top Hat says, going with Mr. with headphones for supporting actor. Nah, Brad Pitt.
Brandy with headphones. We've already established that that is a thing as well.
Do you think that the Academy and ABC will bring Jennifer Aniston to present?
I mean,
Who knows?
probably not. I would not be surprised if they just went. I know they didn't last year, but that was because some of the people that had won, would be considered awkward, given the situation. So, Regina King. Also, let's be honest, they're probably going to get Regina King and Mahershala Ali on stage presenting them because, oh look, it's ethnic minorities. It's not white, honest. Not to be pedantic, but
this whole grouping people. Maybe this is just me being too traditional, but the whole grouping people thing instead of just doing the thing where the opposite presents the opposite category. Can we just go back to that? It is needlessly complicated to pick random people for supporting and then just group last year's winners for leading.
Why don't we do it properly and have Spike Lee do original screenplay, and Peter Farrelly do adapted screenplay as well?
Oh my God! Are you trying to tell me that you want to see Spike Lee hand an Oscar to Tarantino?
Yes.
You
Oh
never
my God!
know. You never know.
I know. I'm going Parasite. I'm definitely going Parasite in original screenplay, but that's just immediately the first thing I thought of when you said that.
Those are the only other categories that are really opposites.
Who is doing Best Picture? Brian asked.
It's normally the week of that we find out the list of names that are presenting. I don't think we have a. Yeah, they've already confirmed Mahershala Ali, Olivia Colman, Regina King, and Rami Malek are doing the opposites.
Good.
The other list, as it stands so far, Zazie Beetz, Chalamet, Corden.
I've this just occurred to me the other day for no reason, and I'm probably totally wrong. But based on absolutely nothing whatsoever, literally based on nothing, this is just something my head imagined. My totally random guess is Harrison Ford.
No. No.
Oh my god. There's some inspired present. Oh no, I think I know who it might be. Maybe. We'll get to it. Penelope Cruz, Beanie Feldstein, Will Ferrell, Gal Gadot, Zach Gottsagen from Peanut Butter Falcon. Fuck yes. Mindy Kaling, Diane Keaton, Shia LaBeouf, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, George Mackay. I would not be surprised if he was like the, for your consideration, 1917, because they still do that at the Academy, don't they?
Yeah, I'm going to assume Shia and Zach are probably presenting together.
Makes sense.
The other one that could be Steve Martin, maybe. Lin-Manuel Miranda, Anthony Ramos Martinez, although he's listed here as Anthony Ramos. He doesn't like Martinez then. Keanu Reeves, Maya Rudolph, Mark Ruffalo, Kelly Marie Tran, Sigourney Weaver, maybe the third one, and Kristen Wiig. But that isn't the full list.
I'm guessing to tell us if there's any possibilities of those. I don't suppose anybody remembers if Julia Roberts was on this list last year, this soon.
I can't. She may have been. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Can we please get Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter to present because of the movie coming out this year? I don't care what the award show is. Just make it happen for something. Sounds like an MTV Awards thing, I know, but still.
No, fuck it. Let Best Picture be Zach Gottsagen. That's how you do it properly.
I'm saying Nicholson.
They've done him too many times, though, haven't they?
Doesn't matter. I think it makes sense now, even more so.
Oh, good, you're finally unfrozen again. Because I was getting ready to say something and then it cut out again. We can rule out Diane Keaton for one reason. The last time she presented, the Scorsese movie won.
Let's see what else we got. They group them so they can make room for more because Oscars are run by corporate overlords, says Josephine. Jeffrey says, I've never been to Disney or Universal. Love Dollywood, though. Haven't been to Dollywood in a long time. Need to go back sometime. Now that I can actually fit on the rides. Josephine says, Guy Fieri, like I've been saying from the beginning. You have been saying at the beginning. I won't deny that. Bry Guy says, I think the reason we had a group last year, Allison Janney would have given the Oscar to Ali the year after Ali gave her an Oscar. Marley Matlin should present an ASL. That would be true diversity in terms of including people with disabilities. After all, they have Zach Gottsagen. As long as Jack Jason is there, I'm all in.
I
I'm
love that
not
you
here to see Marley Matlin. I'm here to see Jack Jason. And AJ gets that joke, and I know he does.
He and Bong Joon-ho's interpreter need like their own thing.
Yes. Netflix original television series. Get on that right now.
Should we do a Rise of Skywalker and have Kelly Marie Tran present the entire ceremony, but she's actually
No.
only there for best original song?
God. Marley Matt. Oh, sorry. Speaking of Lin Manuel Miranda, thoughts on In the Heights? Trailer looks good.
Yeah, looks like it's got potential. That's a that
Honest,
that's probably the only contender to possibly take on West Side Story on the musical side of things.
perhaps yes. Ryan Reynolds is Pikachu presenting an award says Top Hat. Please no.
We'll see. We've still got the other list of people to be added. You know, in terms of presenting. Because we've got to work out who are those 9 if all of them are presenting. Marriage Story and whatever. Obviously, it doesn't have to be somebody directly from the film. It can be somebody that's attached to, the director or whatever.
I want to see animated characters again to present the animated categories like Wallace and Gromit, says Braga. I wouldn't mind that. That was fun before.
The only problem is now you couldn't actually get Wallace to do it because, Peter Sallis is dead.
So,
Plus,
Josephine says,
there was also that time Mark Wahlberg presented with Ted, and not only was he saddled with doing the whole Ted thing, he had to announce the tie that year.
yeah, it was weird. God, Ty should be eliminated from the record. Please having Billie Eilish perform as ABC turning the Oscars into the Grammys or an MTV Awards. Not if it makes
Yes.
sense.
If she's performing the new Bond theme as like a world exclusive, that's a big scoop. And if you're going to do it, you might as well do it on the thing that most film people would watch.
They should have Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty present. No, no, Dick Tracy in this lifetime. Bullworth is not getting on that freaking stage again.
It was not Beatty's fault. How many times do we have to say that?
Every time.
I have to pass the buck to someone, and Price Waterhouse Cooper, seriously. Let's see. Speaking of Timothy Chalamet, I hope we get a Dune teaser soon.
Oh, I don't think you'll be
Super
getting that
pumped
till
for
probably
Dune.
April.
So, Goodfella Tim says, I'd love to see Lars von Trier present. They should use puppets when presenting the animated film category, says Josephine. Top Hat throws another, there's a Fozzie joke. They will. They're called celebrities. Waka waka.
I mean, if you want it to be 2 people, and given the anniversary, in inverted commas, Hoffman and Streep. Because although it doesn't technically trend, because obviously the Oscars in 1980 were in April, it would be the 40th anniversary of Kramer versus Kramer. If you wanted to do that, because they seem to have done that over recent years by bringing, veterans or people that are about to die, or maybe about to die, to do it. Or in the case of Faye and Warren Beatty, their careers died via PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Of course, wasn't Hoffman one of the ones shunned at the start of like the Me Too thing? Yeah, I don't think he's come back from that yet. I don't know if he's just not working as regularly or if they hurt him or what.
we can find some excuse.
I think his last movie was the Meyerowitz Stories, wasn't it?
Oh, off the top of my head, that sounds right.
We are just totally delaying the inevitable.
Yeah.
With that.
Apparently, he
We're,
was in
we're
some.
trying.
He was in some Italian thriller that came out last year. Which I can't be bothered to even fucking translate. And he's in Mayim Bialik's new film, As Sick as They Made Us.
Ashley, look at the chat and please respond to Josephine's next two comments.
If Lars von Trier presents, he should show off his fuck tattoo and say something completely absurd, so he'll be banned from both Cannes and the Oscars.
I'm okay with that.
And the Oscars should be in April. You don't really know what your true favourites of the season are until you revisit them down the line. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's do this real quick. I almost forgot what we were doing.
There's really no reason to
We're
elaborate
doing the
this.
Judy
this
Garland
one,
Award. It's a Judy Garland Award.
All right, for the sake of completion, Cynthia Erivo for Harriet, Scarlett Johansson for Marriage Story, Saoirse Ronan for Little Women, Charlie Theron for Bombshell, Renee Zellweger for Judy. Renee Zellweger, as if it even needs to be said.
Yeah.
Ashley.
Zellweger.
Yeah, there's no competition. It's over. Zellweger.
All right.
And now we get
Actor?
to the only white face in the street award. Thanks, Joker Script.
Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory, DiCaprio for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Adam Driver for Marriage Story, Joaquin Phoenix for Joker, Jonathan Pryce for The Two Popes. It feels so weird to be saying these when nominations day was not that long ago.
What happens when the award show comes up to me like that?
Remember when this one was a race?
Yeah, I do. I had a conversation with a coworker today about Adam Driver, and they were like, Adam Driver's going to win. I was like, be nice, but no.
That seems to happen a lot. There's always, especially, it happens a lot in actor, especially, where there's just an absolute sweep in the Critics Awards, and then the televised awards just go in one direction entirely, also.
Yep.
So, and that we can chalk this year up to that as well. Adam Driver just blew through most of the Critics Awards, with rarely a Phoenix to be seen at all. But then you hit the televised awards, and it's over very fast.
He literally emerged like a phoenix.
There you go. So, yeah, Phoenix.
Ashley.
Yeah. Johnny Cash.
There's no, it's over. Literally, it's going to be the second Joker to win an Oscar, and deservingly so. Joaquin Phoenix. Sorry, Jack.
Also worth noting, there's going to be 2 Jokers that won and 2 Vitoes that won, and both split between leading and supporting.
Wow, very nice.
Yeah. That just occurred to me in the moment.
Marriage Story wins anything, I will. Go ahead.
Regardless of the endless argument people make that Brando is supporting in The Godfather, but that's not where he won. So.
Joaquin is a phoenix rising from Arizona. Yeah. I watched Joker today. Joaquin is unstoppable. Yes. Josephine says, if Marriage Story wins anything, I will puke. Don't worry, you guys are allowed to like it. I understand it's relatable. Okay. Now we may have a little conversation on our hands.
Are we ready?
Let's do this. Let's take this home.
For director, we have Martin Scorsese for The Irishman, Todd Phillips for Joker, Sam Mendes for 1917, Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Bong Joon-ho for Parasite. Is it a 2-person race or is it not? I know. You can easily say it's not. You can very easily say it's not. But like I said, I mean, if they want to go all in on a certain movie enough, I mean, yeah, there's DGA, and yeah, there's the gimmick, if you want to call it that. It's all in the cards for Mendez right now.
Unfortunately.
It is really all in the cards for Mendez right now. But if they love Parasite enough, Bong Joon-ho is still not out of this.
Nope.
He's not. I know that none of them seem to be here today, but there are a lot of people that come through our chat room that love the words "no chance."
Yep.
Which annoys the ever-living fuck out of me, because if you're here, no chance is out the window.
Right.
Unless you're Scorsese.
Yeah. Sad but true.
I mean, of course I said Mendez, but I want to make it abundantly clear Bong Joon-ho is not out. But I said Mendez.
Bong definitely isn't out, because I'm saying Mendes.
Okay. Jeffrey says I didn't like Marriage Story, didn't empathize with any. Brian says if you go back to the nomination announcement after when Issa Rae announced the nominations for director, she says congratulations to those men.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
She pulled a Portman.
Tarantino deserves this. Tarantino should win this. He's not going to. Sad but true. Todd Phillips could have shocked. Nope. Scorsese's not even in this. Like we brought up the Gangs of New York comparison. I would like Bong Joon-ho to win this at this point, because if there's anybody going to take down Mendez, someone's got to. But as the new meme that's coming on slowly but surely, begrudgingly, Sam Mendes.
All right, here we are. Are we ready for picture?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
All right, let's see if I can get through the list without any technical difficulties.
That'd be nice.
Ford vs. Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1970, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. I haven't really, I mean, obviously, except with my Don't You Fucking Dare. With the exception of my top 10.
I did that because
obviously.
it was celebrating, saying, yes, we got all 9 out without any breakup. That's what I meant.
You looked paused for a second. The only way I've really expressed this is indirectly through my top 10, but I feel like I should say it here. It's a beautiful goddamn lineup.
Totally.
I love this picture lineup for the most part.
Same.
So, we have narrowed it down to 2 throughout the season. Again, is it 1917 or is it Parasite? 1917 has PGA. 1970 has the fact that Mendez looks awfully good to go. And it's got the whole one-shot thing. We've never seen a war movie like this anyway. We've seen movies like that, but not a war movie like that. Which is a little different because technically there's a lot more aspects that go into that, make it a lot more complicated than something like, say, Birdman. Or, well, I'd almost say on par with Russian Ark, but... Then you have Parasite, the SAG Ensemble winner, which has been previously won by stuff like Spotlight, when a bunch of other of the bigger productions were taking over at the time.
AJ's taking my lines.
And he's paused now, too, which makes it even better. It's almost like Ashley did that to you on purpose.
No,
Okay, where did I leave off?
Yeah.
You've got...
You're talking about Spotlight.
You're
Yes.
still there, audio, it's just your video's frozen.
Okay. So, and you've got the SAG Ensemble win, which Spotlight did when a bunch of bigger productions were taking over at the time. Then you've got the standing ovation at SAG, as I said before, just for existing. You've got the fact that everybody's been building it up through the entire year. Everybody from the Safdie brothers to Brad Pitt to everybody all year was saying, holy shit, Parasite blew my mind. There are no high-profile detractors of Parasite.
Nope.
They don't exist. And for maybe plenty of other reasons, those are the main ones that stick in my head when I say that I'm going with Parasite.
Ashley.
Just like we've seen in numerous years, the one that gets the director doesn't get picture, so I'm going Parasite as well.
Oh, I forgot something.
Oh.
I had said, hold the fuck on. I had said that somebody said that for every decade the Oscars have existed,
Oh, here we go.
a war movie. Yeah, you want to fucking wrap up now? You want to hear this?
I know what you're about to say.
For every decade, there has been a war movie that wins Best Picture, and that hasn't happened in this decade yet.
Right.
Nobody corrected me when I said that. I don't know what the criteria is for this, because like I said, I'm assuming the 60s, they're either referring to Lawrence of Arabia or The Sound of Music.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So if those count, the Cold War being as prominent as it is in The Shape of Water counts. So if that's the statistic you want to go on, we had a war movie this year that won picture.
Yes.
All right, what are you going to say?
Ashley.
Um,
Anything to say before I finish this up?
I'm trying to see if there's any other film that I can classify as a war film. Well, The King's Speech was a war film. I mean, he literally did the speech. Argo,
Yeah, like I said,
Argo's a war film of sorts because it was the start of the Iranian war.
yeah, because I feel like the person that said that is mainly thinking like battleground movies.
Yeah, probably.
12 Years a Slave was war on racism. Spotlight was the war on paedophile priests. Moonlight was the war on PricewaterhouseCoopers.
That's my war.
And Green Book was the war of why the fuck did that win?
So, Jeffrey says, Tom O'Neill says two-person race. Josephine says, I will cry if Parasite only wins film. Much more, especially Bong Joon-ho. That movie is his vision. Top Hat's going with Bong, but it's so close. If women present director, it might get uncomfortable. Jeffrey says Mendez did win before. There should be backlash over his association with Kevin Spacey. I believe 1917 will go all the way. Such a stacked year, says Top Hat. Josephine
was there more association with Mendez and Spacey apart from the fact that they made American Beauty? Because
I'm not aware of that.
I hadn't heard anything like that.
I believe 1917 will go all the way. Such a stacked year, says Top Hat. I think I said that already. Josephine says a lot of the foreign members will vote for Bong Joon-ho for director and rank Parasite as one. The Academy is more international in the guilds. Jeffrey says Parasite is a perfect film. A lot of people seem to think that. Josephine says, I don't think enough Academy members are thinking you got to vote for a movie this decade. And you know what? To quote a movie that I haven't talked about in a long time ago, and they're not gonna. Parasite. Fleet Walker, Toledo. To complete the line.
Oh, just to piss you off, AJ. There's 4 negative reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. So
Do you think that
there are 4 people that don't think it's that good, even though one of the negative ones is a 3 out of 5.
Do you think any female voters will write in Greta or Olivia Wilde?
That could be
Sure,
the weird.
every
That
year.
could be the weird thing. I am wondering if somehow there is a write-in winner.
I was thinking there's a rule against it now, but I don't know for sure.
Jeffrey says this is a new decade anyway. 2020 begins a new decade.
Oh,
There's several years left.
we can take it back. Facts 1936.
So it was after A Midsummer Night's Dream did it then. They were like, no, you can't fucking do that anymore.
Yeah. Um, yeah, cinematographer Hal Moore won an Oscar for his work on Midsummer Night's Dream and was one of several writing candidates that year and would be the first and last write-in win in Oscar history.
And to be fair, it fucking deserved that win.
None of this would have happened if it wasn't for Bette Davis. Apparently. Oh, I see. So, they didn't say that Bette Davis had screen presence or sex appeal, which of course changed with On Human Bondage. So, and it didn't get any recognition at the Oscar Awards in 35.
Who is the most feminine of the male directors, says Josephine, since they can't write in a name. That's an odd question.
And I don't think, looking at them, I don't think there's an answer to that either.
I'd say in terms of the style of the direction, this may be swayed by Deacon cinematography, but I'd say Mendes. You know, Irishman.
You got the wrong.
Irishman is white male, right? Not to quote fucking SNL again, but there's an awful lot of white male rage in all the films. Whereas Sam Mendes' story seems to be just of like two soldiers in the middle of white male rage.
Josephine has an interesting comment. Well, Bong is like a teddy bear in a good way.
Except for that picture that who was it, Edgar Wright posted where they're all flipping him off.
And Rian Johnson.
Top Hat says, let's get 10 straight years of war movies. How about no? Please. Please, no.
Oh, the 40s tried. The 40s really tried.
To be fair,
I think I would be catching up on sleep every time I went to the cinema if that were the case.
To be fair, we've got a chance at least to start off with war films, what with News of the World probably being a strong contender, you'd argue.
I think that's our show. It is Thursday night, almost 8:20 p.m. here on the East Coast, and we are finished with our 2020 Academy Awards predictions. We will be joining you guys and girls out there on Sunday for our BAFTA wrap up after the BAFTAs are over. But keep in mind, we may spoil things potentially. Yeah. That's up in the air right now.
Depending how long the ceremony is that the guys can watch, that I might or might not be providing for them privately. We might go live at half past the hour, whereas it will still be going on for another 10 minutes on the TV. But the hunch is that will be Kathleen Kennedy's fellowship, so we'll be okay. Unless, of course, she just goes up and says, fuck Kevin Feige and literally retires.
So, yeah, that's going to be Sunday. And then next Sunday, what we waited all year for, the three of us, for the most part, are going to be providing your second screen experience to the 2020 Academy Awards, including wrapping up the Razzies, the guilds that we have yet to talk about, and the Independent Spirit Awards. And I'll tell you right now, the great thing is both award shows I'm off for, and the next day I don't work until at least 10 o'clock. So we're good. It's going to be a long show, ladies and gentlemen. So sit down, relax, grab a soda, and get ready to enjoy Oscar telecast with us. Jeffrey says Parasite is a war film. It's the war on haves and have-nots. It's a very current to our political climate. I just enjoyed the movie. It's all a countdown at this point. Good luck, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Top Hat. Brian says WGA recap. Yes. Tarantino does deserve an Oscar, but not this film. Hollywood has too many problems and it's too controversial. I do think it deserves everything it's nominated for and then some. And AJ, of course, will concur with this, regardless if it's going to happen or not.
I was going to say, who said that?
That would be Jeffrey.
I disagree, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
You seem very respectable, so I will be that in return.
Yes, I think AJ and I both would disagree with this, given the fact that Time in Hollywood is his favorite movie of the decade. Not to spoil any best of list that's going to be may or may not come out somewhere down the line. So yeah, that's going to be your show. And also, as I'm sure Braga would mention in chat, that we're going to be doing the three of us for a change to predict what we would like to see if it were possible for the Big 8 categories this year. And I'm actually in there this year because I got to watch everything this year. So yay. So that's your show. Thanks everyone for joining us, whether live or in our. AJ will be bringing back verses in the near future, so stay tuned for that. We got movie reviews this week, so that's coming out on Friday. So stay tuned for that. Ashley will have more gaming content and more sip and snack content coming in the near future. Mm-hmm. I've got more sip and snack content. I'm going back to voices after the Oscars are over. Do that again, which I'm super excited about. And Ashley can be found on Twitter at AshIsMyNameUK. I can be found on Twitter at @SoroandDisney. And thanks everyone for joining us tonight. Which decade? How can you forget Whiplash, Call Me by Your Name, Boyhood, and Nightcrawler? That's you, AJ.
What was that?
He said which decade? He's talking about how can you forget Whiplash, Call Me by Your Name, Boyhood, and Nightcrawler.
I'm not completely insane about Call Me by Your Name.
Same.
But I can vouch for those others, just not to the extent that I would other movies.
Yeah, Whiplash would 100% be in that lineup for me. I have to really look into it to see what I would actually say. That'll probably come up on our recap before the Oscars start. Because as of right now, as long as everything lines up, it's going to be kind of a repeat of last year. So we're going to be live before the show starts, and then AJ will probably be joining us after the show's over for the recap, wrap up. You'll have Ashley and myself and our live chat to progress us through the 3 hours. Unless something changes. So I'm just giving you guys the heads up. So if you joined us last year, it's going to be very similar this year. So that makes sense. So thank you, everyone in live chat. If you're here in archive, feel free to comment below on what you thought of the show and what you're thinking of is going to get the win on Oscar Sunday. And awards coverage will continue again with the BAFTAs on Sunday, and then the big one next Sunday night. So that's going to be your show. And as always, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And until next time, that's all we got to say about that.
Come on, Donkey. Donkey, do it for Eddie Murphy, Donkey.